Hey, welcome to the second instalment of Dave's Getting to Know Your Business. This time round, last time we talked a lot about those things you got to think about when you're thinking about starting your own business or currently in your own business. This time I want to talk more about brand. We touched on that last time, but as I said last time, brand is the most important thing you're ever going to have in your business. So if we take Grandad Jack's, for example, and I think it's a good example of focusing on brand. When we first sat down, when we first had the idea about Grandad Jack's more than 4 years ago now, we started talking about, we're having a few drinks ourselves, and we started talking about our family and who was in the family. And my grandfather, Grandad Jack, Luke's great-grandfather, always loved the whiskey. So, he was always doing stuff like that and super hard worker. So for us, it was, the Grandad Jack's thing come about by purely brand. It was about, okay, we have this name, Grandad Jack's, that we believe we can turn into a brand, which we obviously are doing now. So at that point, we knew, he loved whiskey, but gin was never talked about. So this is a prime example of understanding right from day one that our business was about brand, and actually the product was a secondary thing. So it was really important for us, particularly with the Grandad Jack's brand, that he had an amazing life story. So someone who who was born in 1919, his father passed away before he was born. He grew up in those Great Depression eras, through the World Wars. There was a real family story around Grandad Jack. And we were very lucky that my aunties and mother had put together at a point in his life a bit of a "this is your story," which gave us a lot of detail about his life and all these little increment things he did over the years. So it really helped with our brand. So if you're there and you're thinking about getting into business and you're thinking about a product, or maybe you're doing a service, or maybe you're offering a solution to something that is disruptive or not currently in the marketplace. First of all, think about your brand. What is the brand going to be? What does the brand mean? Does it have any connection to your family or connection to individuals that were unique in the world, or different locations that were unique in the world? So really spend the time to really hone down on your brand and make sure that you start to create and start to put down some points about what your brand is. Because once you identify what the brand is you're doing, and when I say brand, I want to be really, really clear about this. Your brand is your business, whatever that business is called. Or if it's maybe you're a coach, a fitness coach, or a life coach, or some form of coach, right? If your brand is you, then it's as, if not more important than a business brand. At the end of the day, they're the same thing. You've got to build the brand. It's all about the brand. So if you're sitting there, you're thinking about starting a business, start to jot down what that brand means. Because if you start with jotting down and understanding what your brand means, then you're going to be able to do all the other things correctly. So for example, you go from that to creating your business logo or your company logo. Those logos then are going to be put on all your products or services or whatever you do. So and then from that point, once you've developed that, then you can put all your social media platforms in place, because you have your brand, you have a brand story. Make sure you do that stuff first. Don't worry about all this doing your spreadsheets and your cost analysis and all this shit first. Don't worry about it, because that's what's not going to help you win. What's going to help you win is your passion for your brand, your passion for what you're going to do. That stuff can happen after you get all this in place. So if you're starting a business, let's recap. Number one thing, identify your brand. Once you've identified the brand and you've got all your brand in place, then work on how you're going to implement the brand. So, you're going to need, what sort of premise are you going to need? Is it an office? Is it a warehouse? Is it a workshop? Once you've identified that, then go and put down those overheads that we talked about in episode 1. Understand, how much the rent is every month, what the power is going to be, what your phone bill is going to be, all those sorts of things. But again, brand. When you wake up in the morning, think about your brand. During lunch, think about your brand. All day, blinking long. When you go to bed, think about your brand. That's what's going to win. That's what's going to win you in this game called business. So once again, if you've got any questions about brand or anything like that, just fire them off to us, and feel free to go into the Grandad Jack's website, granddadjacks.com. You'll see the story there, how our brand's evolved, what's been put in behind it, all those sorts of things. Maybe that'll give you some ideas as well on how you can create that with your own business and your own brand. See you next time.
And so after actually sticking that on there, I thought I was going to have to do a half clear sticker that went on the back half, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see how much it magnifies?
Yeah.
That's only that big. So I think it'll be interesting to start to play with. I reckon you could make that even smaller.